Hello, everyone in my channel. I'm glad to meet you. So let you know that listening is the most important stage for learning any language, and by hearing you can learn pronunciation, memorizing words with repetition. It will save you time and effort, in addition to not being bored. And to achieve this, you only have to follow me. I want to inform you that there are many voices that will participate with me in this video. Let's begin. Hi there, I'm Flu Johnny, and this is Learn English with Me, a daily podcast to improve your listening skills and grow your English vocabulary. Join me for a new episode where I'll give a short talk on a theme and explore a few interesting words or phrases for you. Those of you who have been listening to these podcasts for some time now will know that I love talkies and stories, as well as science fiction, And there are a few things I love more in life than being caught up in a great science fiction novel. So did you know that there's an award that's been given out every year since 1953 by the World Science Fiction Society for the best science fiction or fantasy work of the last 12 months? It's called the Hugo Prize, and it was presented this year, around mid-August, in Chengdu, China. I think it's quite good that it's in China this year, because one of my favorite sci-fi novels, The Three-Body Problem by Chinese writer Cixin Liu, was the first book by an Asian writer to win the Hugo Award for Best Novel. Look, Gus, if none of you have read Cixin Liu's masterpiece yet, you should read it as soon as possible. I don't know what my favorite sci-fi novel would be. There are so many great ones, and it's really an impossible question. But what I can tell you for sure is that somewhere in my top 10 would be a story written nearly 130 years ago, The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells. This is one of the most famous science fiction tales ever written, and it's even been made into a blockbuster film starring none other than Tom Cruise. It tells the story of our planet Earth being invaded by aliens from Mars, or Martians to give them their correct name. I'm sure you don't need me to tell you the story. It's so well known by now, but if you haven't read it or seen the film, once again, you know what you need to do. Ever since The War of the Worlds was first published, Mars has been a part of our imagination. What would it be like to set foot on the surface? Could humans ever reach it? And if there really is life out there, real Martians, what would they look like? Well, while it may seem like science fiction, scientists and space agencies around the world have been actively exploring the possibilities of colonizing Mars. So, let's take a closer look at some of the reasons why living on Mars could become a reality. One of the main reasons is that Mars has some similar conditions to Earth. For example, it has a 24.5-hour day, which is very close to our 24-hour day. Also, Mars has seasons, an atmosphere, and gravity. That's the force that attracts objects to larger objects. And it's what keeps us standing on the Earth's surface, instead of floating away. Martian gravity is weaker than Earth's though, about 62% lower, so a person who weighs 100 kilograms on Earth would only weigh 38 kilograms on Mars. Imagine that. These factors all suggest that with the right technology, humans could potentially adapt to life on Mars. But the journey to Mars is a huge challenge. The first problem is the distance. Mars is approximately 225 million kilometers away from Earth, depending on the positions of the planets. Traveling such a large distance safely and efficiently is a major technical challenge that scientists are working on. In fact, space agencies like NASA and private companies like Elon Musk's SpaceX are developing spacecraft capable of making the journey to Mars. They're investing in advanced engines and long-term life support systems to keep the astronauts alive and healthy during the trip. Another significant challenge is the harsh environment on Mars. The average temperature there is around -63 degrees Celsius, and the planet has a thin atmosphere consisting mostly of carbon dioxide. The lack of a breathable atmosphere means humans would need spacesuits and pressurized buildings to survive. But scientists are exploring ways to make Mars habitable. They're researching methods to generate breathable air and produce food on Mars. And some scientists believe that if we can establish a sustainable colony on Mars, it could be used as a stepping stone for further space exploration. Mars could be a launchpad for future missions to even more distant planets and moons within our solar system. Amazing. But it seems to me that one thing we really need to consider is the psychological and emotional well-being of astronauts living on Mars, being so far away from Earth, separated from family and friends, and living in a small space for a long time could be really tough. I'm not sure how long I could survive for, or whether I'd even want to try. And how about you? If you were offered the chance to take part in a trip to Mars, would you go for it? And don't say thank you but no thanks. Write and tell me in the comments, what do you think of human exploration of Mars? And if you have any good science fiction book recommendations for me, that would be great too. Thank you for listening. If there is a topic you want me to talk about in an upcoming episode, just write it to us in a comment, and remember, keep everyone safe. Today's workout finished.